Hello, I'm Kendall Almarico, securities attorney for Armed Forces Brewing Company. I want to thank you for joining us here today for this webinar about the ongoing stock offering that's a chance for people to invest in this company. And here today, you're going to get some questions answered that have been sent in to us. We encourage people to send additional questions, and we'll get those answered also online or personally back to you. But first, let me introduce to you the CEO of Armed Forces Brewing Company, Alan Beal. Alan, welcome to the webinar.
Thank you, Kendall, for having me.
Now, Alan, why don't we start off at the top for people who may not be familiar with Armed Forces Brewing Company? Tell us what the company is all about.
Armed Forces Brewing Company is a military and first responder tribute beer company and lifestyle brand. And we're making beers that tribute our military branches, the service within each branch, and some of those really fun military traditions that we as Americans know.
And Alan, if you could tell us where is Armed Forces Brewing Company's headquarters located?
We really recently relocated our company to Norfolk, Virginia. We bought a brewing facility here and just moved down here from Annapolis in June of 2023.
Now, a lot of people, when I mention Armed Forces Brewing Company, they ask this, especially since you have a tap room and a brewery and a facility headquarters in Norfolk. Is this a local craft brewery?
We're not a hyper local craft brewing company. We plan on scaling into national distribution and global export, and also opening a chain of taproom fooderies around the country.
So, if you could tell us a little bit about some of the flagship beers of Armed Forces Brewing Company and where people might be able to find them.
We have about 4 or 5 core brands out to market right now. We've got our Preamble, We the People Light Session Lager. That's that 4.2 ABV, any day, everyday beer. We've got a little step up on the lager scale with our Cat Shot American Craft Lager. It's got a 5.3 ABV. But we've also been playing in the IPA space. Our biggest seller is Special Hops IPA. That's a tribute to our U.S. Navy SEALs, and that's a nice 6.7 ABV, along with our Grunt Double IPA, which is about 9.0 ABV right now, full of hop flavor. And we just recently gotten about 2 other SKUs out to market with our Black Hops Black IPA and our Death from Above Coffee Porter. Right now, we've got about 24 taps right behind me here at our tap room. We've got 8 taps on an upper level in the facility, and we've got a beer garden as well that has 12 taps on it.
So, tell me a little bit about people that are watching this are all over the country. In fact, could be all over the world. Where can people purchase? What states are you available in right now, and what types of places can people buy Armed Forces Brewing Company's beers?
So we're distributed in 8 states right now. We're home base of Virginia, Maryland, Tennessee, Ohio. We're in Florida. We got a great big presence in Florida. We're opening up North Carolina and South Carolina, and getting ready to open New Jersey and some other states in the mid-Atlantic and the Southeast U.S.
In those states right now, Alan, where can you find the beer?
You can go to our beer locator on our website, and you can at www.armedforcesbrewingco.com. You can put in your zip code, and locations where you can get our beer will pop up in your area or the ones closest to you. We also have an online store where you can go and buy the beer. It ships to 30 states, and that's through a partner we have in Virginia Beach.
So, Alan, you mentioned that you're available in several states and obviously available in a lot more by mail order. But in those states where you have a physical presence right now, as you continue to grow across the country, what are examples of some of the kinds of stores and restaurants and grocery stores and places where you might find the Armed Forces Brewing Company beers?
Well, a lot of chains have picked us up right now. Publix, Walmart, Sam's Club, Winn-Dixie. We're in some regional chains as well, like Harris Teeter, Food Lion. And we're getting ready to go into more chains. We're in a lot of discussions with a lot of other regional chains as we branch out into other states. So that's exciting time for us.
So, Alan, we're here today on this webinar to talk to people that potentially might invest in Armed Forces Brewing Company. Could you explain to people why you chose to finance the company through what some people call an equity crowdfunding model or a Regulation A public stock offering? Why did you choose to do that instead of taking in venture capital or bank loans or some of the other more traditional ways of financing a company?
We could have gone the venture capital route. We could have taken bank loans out, but we wanted to bring in the military community and patriotic Americans from all over the country and build a shareholder community of like minded patriotic individuals.
So, Alan, this is actually the second public stock offering that Armed Forces Brewing Company has held. Could you tell us about how the first one went? What was it like to run a public stock offering and have such a wonderful response from people?
Well, we launched our first round on July 4th of 2021. This was a $7.5 million capital raise. We reached that goal and we made a lot of promises to our shareholders, like going out and buying our own brewing facility. And we kept our promises. We grew the company. We found a facility that was for sale in Norfolk, Virginia, and we went and acquired that facility. And there was so much interest in investing in our company. We actually oversubscribed on the first round, and we've opened up a second round now.
Alan, let's talk about the second round. If someone out there is interested in investing, what's the minimum investment and what's the average that people typically invest to join the thousands of other patriotic Americans who own part of Armed Forces Brewing Company?
So the minimum investment is an affordable $200. We're averaging per investor about $700 to $1,000. And it's a real easy process. Anyone can go to www.ownarmedforcesbrewingco.com and invest.
So this stock that people are buying, obviously, Armed Forces Brewing Company is still a private company. Um, but I know one of the questions that we've received was, is this a stock that is traded, for example, on the New York Stock Exchange or on NASDAQ, or is that something that may happen in the future?
We're a private company. This is private stock. We are not publicly traded, but like every growing business down the road, we're eyeing maybe an IPO or some kind of exit or paying out dividends to our shareholders gradually.
And I think that's one of the things that, as a securities lawyer, I can address a little bit. It's very typical that people ask in these situations, is this something I can go buy from Merrill Lynch or E-Trade or what have you? This is a private investment. It's much more like investing in when you see Shark Tank, for example, and you see the sharks investing in an early stage company. They invest in the company hoping that the company grows, then goes public and is traded on the stock exchange or does an IPO or gets acquired by a bigger company. So when people invest in Armed Forces Brewing Company, Alan, they're coming along for the ride, hoping the company continues to grow and that somewhere down the line they'll get an exit of some kind, meaning a return on their investment.
Absolutely. We're focused on growing the company right now. A lot of companies like Amazon and Meta and Black Rifle Coffee started out this way. We're that private company that's growing. And down the road, we're looking at that IPO or some kind of exit and paying out dividends to our shareholders.
So in the meantime, when people have invested and you now have thousands of investors from one end of the country to another. What types of things do those investors get to do or have access to that you might not normally see in an investment?
This is what I really like about our business model and our offering perimeters is we stay in touch with our shareholders. I give them weekly video updates. They have a portal that they log into, and I'm giving them updates on our progress almost on a weekly basis. We're just not taking in their investment money and then they never hear from us again. We keep them very informed on what's going on in the company, and they participate in the actual growth of the company as well. We have them, our shareholders out there on social media, commenting on our social media posts or sharing them with their friends, their family, their colleagues. And they're helping us grow with the company by actually bringing investors into our shareholder community at the same time.
So, Alan, also, I know that Armed Forces Brewing Company has done some pretty funny videos. They do a lot of content creation as part of being a lifestyle brand. Do the investors get to see those things first also?
They do. But just about everything we do, we let our shareholders know first. They get to see the videos first that we do before we release them to the public. We'll let them know about milestones that we're about to reach before we announce those to the public. We keep them informed on distribution progress before the public knows. So they're not only informed about what's going on in the company, they participate in everything that has to do with the company as well.
And do you also have exclusive events for shareholders?
We do. We have what we call Rally Point. It's our annual shareholders event. We had our first one at a tank farm that has all sorts of military vehicles and military tanks in Nokesville, Virginia, and we're actively planning Rally Point 2, which is going to take place here in the Hampton Roads, Virginia area.
So, Alan, you're a couple of years into building this community through the public stock offerings that you've been doing, and you've seen it grow from just a few people to thousands and thousands of patriotic Americans across the country. What does it feel like to be at the helm of a company with that kind of support, that kind of a crowd, that kind of excitement that you get to experience on a daily basis?
It is empowering. I have a small army of like-minded, patriotic Americans that love beer. They love our company. They love our mission, and they they just they love this company so much that when we do a call to action or ask them to become even more involved in the company, they're out there proselytizing the brand and our company mission, and it's just empowering to have that many people that are involved in the company and love what we're doing so much. It's not just like a publicly traded company, where people are looking at the stock value and getting paid out a dividend. These people are not just monetarily invested in the company, they invest their time and their energy into helping us grow as well.
And in addition to the stock that they get in the company, are there additional perks, things that people get when they invest and become a part of this community of shareholders in Armed Forces Brewing Company?
We do. We have perks that go along with their investment. There are several different levels to investment and different perks that they get at each level. It could be anywhere from some stickers and a shareholder ball cap, all the way up to participating, like brewing their own beer here at the brewing facility, or some kind of military style activity that they get to participate in with members of the management team and our advisory board members.
You've given a whole lot of information to people, but let's talk about the process of actually investing itself. So, if someone wants to invest in Armed Forces Brewing Company today, where do they go, and how difficult is it to actually invest?
So it's a real simple process. It might take 5 minutes or less. You can invest through your phone, or you can invest on a laptop by going to www.ownarmedforcesbrewingco.com. It is super easy. It's super safe and secure as well. And it's just a real easy, seamless process.
So when you go to ownarmedforcesbrewingco.com to invest in the company, you can pay for your investment through a credit card, a debit card, bank to bank transfer, like an ACH, or even a wire transfer of the funds. It's a very simple process. It's much like, as I always tell people, filling out the forms to open an account on Amazon or a bank account. You're just giving some information that literally takes 5 or 10 minutes. You pay right there online, and then it goes through a compliance process. And in a couple of weeks, you are a shareholder in the company. So, Alan, as you're out and about in the country and you're talking about Armed Forces Brewing Company to people, what is it that you tell them are the main reasons why someone should consider investing in this military tribute brewery?
Well, I like to tell them all about the company, and I'll start with the beer. We're making great beer, like I said, that tributes our military and first responder service members. I tell them about the offering and how We're just not here to take their money and run off. We want our shareholders to participate in the mission of the company. And then I want to tell them about our give back. We're not just making beer and trying to sell beer. We're giving back to the military community as well through our success. We've got several beers that are connected to some nonprofit organizations that are doing great work out there for our veteran community, with a focus on veteran suicide and veteran homelessness. So it's not just a company about making beer and making money. We've got a great give back component and mission to this company as well. And people respect that. People like that. Americans want to get involved in a company that's got a mission like ours.
So, speaking of giving back, let's talk about what Armed Forces Brewing Company does to give back to veterans and their family members.
Well, only are we partnering with organizations and donating a percentage of the profits from some of our beers, but we're employing veterans as well. Now that we've got our own brewing facility, now that we're opening up more states and growing, our goal is to be 70% veteran and their family members employed in this company. We want to create jobs for veterans out there and hire veterans to come into the company. And Kendall, we've got some great jobs available for veterans, high paying jobs when you get into sales positions and some of the C-level positions that we have open. But we also, now that we have our own brewing facility, veterans can come in and they can work for us and they can actually learn the beer industry as well. And there's a lot of veterans out there that we found that are transitioning out of military service, and they're looking for an industry to learn about, like the beer industry. And we hope they come in and apply for the positions that we've got available.
So, Alan, as we wrap this up, why don't you give one last shout out to our audience out here and tell them how do you invest in Armed Forces Brewing Company today?
We want you to join our shareholder community. We're 10,000 plus strong right now from shareholders from all 50 states. 95% of our shareholders are active duty, are veterans, are first responders, or they come from military families. You can go to www.ownarmedforcesbrewingco.com. It's a very easy process for you to invest, and we're experiencing huge growth. I want to mark one more time, we raised $7.5 million in our first round, and we kept our promises to our shareholders and went out and bought a brewing facility here. We were successful that first round. We've got a second round going, and we want to keep building our shareholder community. So I hope you will come and join us and join the mission.
And I want to thank everyone who watched today. Also, feel free to either add any questions you have in the comments or send them to us at Armed Forces Brewing Company, and we'll make sure that we get answers to you for any questions you have related to the investment here. Alan, thank you very much for being here, for doing this webinar, and for doing the things that you're doing for our active duty troops, veterans, and their family members across the country.
Thank you, Kendall, and God bless this great company we're building along with our shareholders, and God bless America.